That night started off as any other would. My boyfriend, Chris, and I were at a party, enjoying the usual camaraderie and cheer that came with our group of friends. The night was still young when we decided to head back home. We'd always loved the quiet late-night stroll to the train station. It was our time to reflect, laugh, and dream about our shared future. That night, though, our regular walk was about to turn into a horrifying episode that would mark me forever. As we walked, an unnatural silence crept over the area. It felt like the calm before a storm, a dread-filled stillness. Then, seemingly from nowhere, a man appeared. He was scruffy-looking, but it was his eyes that set off alarm bells in my head. They were cold, detached, devoid of any human warmth. He asked for money, but his presence made me feel like he wanted a lot more than just a few dollars. We didn't know it then, but we'd crossed paths with Angel Resendez, a man soon to be notorious as a symbol of terror. Before we could react, he was brandishing an ice pick, its pointed end shining ominously under the sparse, flickering lights of the deserted station. An icy fear gripped me as he herded us into a nearby ditch. This isolated, eerie spot was a stark contrast to the lively party we'd left behind. It was a place that felt lost to time, now destined to be the setting of a terrifying act. With a swift, chillingly practiced motion, Chris was forced to his knees. Resendez, his face a chilling mask of apathy, lifted a massive rock, its weight likely reaching 50 pounds. The events that followed are seared into my memory like a cruel scar. The rock came down on Chris's skull with a thud that echoed in the silent night. I watched in helpless horror as he continued this brutal action on Chris. The man who was my heart's companion was rendered lifeless within moments. But Resendez wasn't finished. He shifted his focus to me, his eyes burning with a perverse satisfaction. He subjected me to brutalities I'd never thought a human could inflict on another. He did unspeakable things to me, violating my body in a horrific manner. The ice pick, that once was just a threat, was now lodged into my neck. A wooden plank battered me without mercy. Each blow pushed me further towards the edge of consciousness until I slipped into darkness, certain that my end was near. Despite my expectations, I awoke later. The world was unnaturally quiet. Resendez had gone, assuming he'd left me dead. His grave mistake became my opportunity. Despite the debilitating pain and paralyzing fear, I dragged myself to a nearby house and collapsed. Waking up in a hospital, the full reality of my ordeal hit me. My body was a macabre testament to the horrors I'd endured. A shattered eye socket, a broken jaw, my neck pierced by an ice pick, and a myriad of other wounds. Each pain-filled moment, every reflection in the mirror, was a grim reminder of the horrors of that night. Out of the 15 unfortunate souls who crossed paths with the Railway Reaper, I was the only survivor. The only one who could bear witness to the monstrous deeds of this man. When Resendez was finally sentenced to death for his gruesome crimes, I felt an icy wave of grim satisfaction wash over me. The Railway Reaper's reign of terror was over. His legacy of horror was silenced not by the echoes of his victims' cries, but by the resolute voice of a survivor. A survivor who, despite bearing the cruel scars of that night, stood unwavering.